The restaurant was buzzing with late afternoon patrons, a mix of business types and casual diners. But at table 17, the atmosphere crackled differently. Nathaniel Royce, a white American millionaire in his early 40s, dressed in a tailored navy suit, leaned back in his leather chair, glancing around the room with casual superiority. "Hey guys, before we get into today's shocking story, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Today, a millionaire thought he could humiliate a waitress, but what she did next shocked everyone. Comment your country below, and trust me, the real shocking part is coming. You have to see it." His wife, Claudia, sat beside him, petite and elegant, visibly tense under Nathaniel's calculating stare. Across the restaurant, Jenna, a young white waitress with chestnut hair tied back in a neat ponytail, balanced a tray with practiced ease. She was known for her sharp wit and no-nonsense demeanor, traits Nathaniel had privately dismissed as quaint. Today, however, her teasing comments hit him like a dagger. "So, you own all this?" she asked, gesturing vaguely toward his table, his gold cufflinks, the vintage wine bottle he had just ordered. Her tone was light, almost playful, but underneath it was a trace of derision. Nathaniel's lips twitched. This was not a mistake he could ignore. Humiliation, subtle but unmistakable, prickled at his ego. His wife, usually composed, flushed with embarrassment, a blush creeping across her cheek as she realized the public display. "Yes," Nathaniel said smoothly, though there was an edge beneath the calm. "I've built it all myself." Jenna tilted her head, her smile tight. "Must be nice, having money buy respect you can't earn." Claudia gasped softly. The restaurant felt smaller now, their private worlds shrinking under the weight of Jenna's careless words. Nathaniel's jaw tightened. Here was the spark, a tiny ember of public embarrassment. He could feel the first hint of an idea forming, slow, deliberate, and cunning. After the meal, Nathaniel left a tip far smaller than expected, deliberately letting it slip into view. Jenna's eyes widened, not with gratitude, but a mix of irritation and confusion. Patrons whispered, noticing the tense dynamic. Nathaniel's satisfaction was quiet, almost invisible, but it set the stage. The seed of revenge was planted. He returned home, Claudia fuming silently, her pride wounded as much as his. They discussed strategies under the guise of casual conversation, mapping out how a seemingly minor slight could escalate into a lesson in humility. Jenna, unawares, went home humming, oblivious to the storm brewing in the city's upper echelon. Nathaniel spent the next week quietly observing Jenna. Every tip she gave, every casual comment, he cataloged. Unlike the rash, impulsive types, his revenge would be intelligent and drawn out. At his penthouse office, overlooking the skyline, he watched the restaurant's social media posts, noting her interactions with patrons and staff. Meanwhile, Claudia seethed. The subtle humiliation of that day lingered. "Why does she get to mock us without consequences?" she asked during dinner, frustration in her tone. Nathaniel only smiled, leaning back in his chair, an idea forming. The next evening, Nathaniel returned to the restaurant, but this time incognito, in casual attire, sunglasses hiding his eyes. He observed Jenna from across the room, analyzing her habits, her gestures, the way she commanded attention without realizing it. Each laugh she shared, each joke she made, he noted meticulously. "Are you serious?" a colleague whispered, noticing him taking notes on a small pad. Nathaniel's calm demeanor made it impossible to read him. He didn't confront Jenna, didn't call attention to himself. The suspense, the power imbalance, was key. The first act of humiliation had been subtle, the second would sting deeper. After closing, he orchestrated a small, accidental mishap, A spilled wine glass at a nearby table traced back to Jenna by patrons, though entirely Nathaniel's invisible manipulation. She apologized profusely, face red, while he observed silently from his corner, a faint smirk playing across his lips. Claudia called later, trembling with a mix of fear and excitement. She wanted him to escalate, but Nathaniel reminded her of patience. Revenge, he insisted, was not a sprint. It was a slow, intelligent unraveling of her confidence, one that would leave Jenna questioning everything she thought she knew about power, influence, and the fragility of public perception. Weeks later, Nathaniel invited Jenna to an exclusive event, a mistaken offer from his charity committee, an evening she could not refuse. The ballroom glittered with American luxury, crystal chandeliers, marble floors, and influential guests sipping champagne. Jenna walked in, radiant but nervous, her waitress uniform swapped for an elegant cocktail dress, a deliberate test of contrast. Nathaniel observed from across the room, now in full tuxedo, noting her every micro-expression. He had arranged for small coincidences, whispered critiques, subtle jokes, and veiled comparisons to her previous role as a waitress. Each comment chipped at her confidence, each glance amplified humiliation. The tension escalated when a wealthy acquaintance loudly asked about her background. Jenna, trying to maintain composure, stumbled over her words. Nathaniel's wife, Claudia, leaned in, whispering, "Isn't this fun?" Her pride in his slow-burn plan was undeniable. By the night's end, Jenna's poise cracked. She realized she had been lured into a maze of psychological manipulation, a carefully orchestrated humiliation that targeted every prideful nerve. Yet, even in embarrassment, she carried a flicker of defiance, subtle, silent, but potent. Nathaniel noticed. He admired intelligence, even when it opposed him. Finally, Nathaniel invited her to a gala dinner under the pretense of recognition for her hard work. The room was packed, cameras flashing. When the announcement came, he took the stage, raising a glass. "In life, humility is priceless," Nathaniel said, glancing at Jenna. "And sometimes we need to be reminded of our place." He paused, letting the words hang, perfectly measured. Jenna's initial blush deepened into comprehension. Her embarrassment was complete, but then, in a subtle twist, she revealed the secret Nathaniel hadn't predicted. She had recorded his minor manipulations, shared discreetly with influential guests. The whispers shifted. Patrons glanced, eyes wide. The balance of power wavered, but Nathaniel, ever the strategist, smiled faintly. The humiliation reversed, but in a public, elegant, controlled way. Jenna learned restraint. Nathaniel demonstrated that true dominance could coexist with intelligence. Both walked away transformed, her pride tempered, his patience proven. The slow-burn revenge had reached a pinnacle, a cinematic end, unforgettable in its humiliation and clever orchestration.